Hello everyone there in YouTube world. My name is General Kenobi, and like always, I got a good one for you today. You can probably guess, based off the title of the video, and what came after the opening video, what I'm going to be talking about today. It is a sad time for Marvel fans, as the man himself, Stan Lee, is no longer with us. For those of you who don't know, Stan Lee is pretty much the creator of every Marvel character that there is. His favorite was definitely Spider-Man. And a little info on how he came up with the idea for Spider-Man. He was in his office working, and he saw a bug crawling up the wall. And he said, gee, wouldn't it be interesting to have a superhero stick to the wall like an insect? So he needed a name. He started with Ant-Man. He's like, no, that doesn't work too well. Mosquito Man, no, that doesn't work too well either. So he went down the list, and he got to Spider, and he goes, Spider-Man. He's like, oh yeah, that's it right there. Now, in just about every single Marvel movie, he had a cameo. That was kind of his way of saying, you want to use my characters? I'm going to be in your movie. He started out as blink and you miss it to you have to be blind not to see him. Now he has done more than just Marvel cameos. So we're only going to look at the Marvel cameos, which makes sense considering I'm wearing a Spider-Man mask. So sit back and watch the top 11 Stan Lee cameos. Why top 11? Because it's Stan Lee. That's why.
These are the years when a man changes into the man he's going to become the rest of his life. Just be careful who you change into. Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
This week's UN summit. With the leaders of over 200 nations attending, the Secret Service has transformed.
This is one of Stan Lee's first Marvel cameos before the Marvel MCU. And it's one of the blink and you miss it cameos. And it's very simple and to the point. Senator Kelly is walking naked on a beach. It happens. And Stan Lee is one of the many people just staring at this very important senator that's buck naked on a public beach as he gets a hot dog. Like I said, it's a simple cameo. However, they do get a little more complex from there over time.
With great power comes great responsibility.
This one is not quite blink and you miss it. However, it's not blatantly in your face either. Now, to step up from the first one he does a little more. This would be from the Daredevil movie, not the Netflix series. And you get a brief glimpse of what Mr. Murdock can do now that he has superhuman hearing. Stan Lee is reading a paper and he's oblivious as he's about to step off a curb and walk right into the side of a bus. When Mr. Murdock puts his cane in front of him to keep him from doing this. Then Stan Lee just looks around confused, and in a combination of did that just happen, and did that just happen when he sees that a blind man kept him from walking into a bus. Again, simple, but it does get a good chuckle out of you.
Welcome back to the Baxter, Dr. Richards. I've got the usual for you. Good to have you back, sir.
Thanks, Willie.
This is where the cameos start to be in your face. How did you miss it? I just wish it was a little better. And if you think about it, he's a little mean. here you have Reed Richards, who is one of the greatest scientific minds of the 21st century.
Nerd!
Who would have thought I would have used a Simpsons gag on this channel? I guess anything is possible. And Richards also just got back from the hospital after the space accident.
Don't pander to me, kid. One tiny crack in the hull and our blood boils in 13 seconds. Solar flare might crop up, cook us in our seats. And wait till you're sitting pretty with a case of Andorian shingles. See if you're still so relaxed when your eyeballs are bleeding. Space is disease and danger wrapped in darkness and silence.
Okay, thank you, Bones. We get the idea. Space is bad. But I still want to go there. Anyway, here comes Stan Lee playing a postman, and he gives Dr. Richards a handful of bills that we find out they can't pay them very well. Great job, Stan Lee. Great job.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Invitation, sir.
I should be on that list.
Name?
Stanley.
Yeah, nice try, buddy.
No,
Nice
no,
try.
really,
Nice
I'm
try.
Stanley.
Again with the Fantastic Four, more like the not even remotely helpful Four. Oh yeah, I went there. Anyway, we have the wedding of Reed Richards and Susan Storm. So of course, you would want the man himself, Stan Lee, to be at the wedding. Shoot, I want him at my wedding. Why not? Unfortunately, he goes up to the guy who is checking the guests off the list, and not only does he say he's not on the list, he says, "Nice try, buddy," when Stanley says, "But I'm Stan Lee." If I was Mr. Richards and I found out that Stan Lee was not at the wedding, even though he was invited and he got turned away, I would have done this.
You're fired!
Thanks, JJ. However, I could see this guy actually being important.
Oh, right. You're unfired. I need you. Come here.
Right.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Now, if you're gonna fight a war, you gotta wear a uniform.
Oh, man. I am so fired.
This one is good, and it's funny. Stanley is a security guard at a type of museum where one of the exhibits is about Captain America and his original uniform and his team from back in the first Captain America movie. Well, Captain Rogers needs a uniform to go to war, so he just borrows that one. He's like, "I'm just gonna take this. It's mine anyway." Well, Stan is making his rounds as a security guard, and he notices the uniform is missing. And he just stares at the exhibit and goes, "Oh, I am so fired." You can't help but laugh at that. However, the firing would probably go something like this.
You're fired. Come back when you get me shots of that red and blue wacko.
Yep, that's pretty much Jameson in a nutshell. You're fired. I think that's the third time JJ's fired me this week. Oh well.
With great power comes great responsibility.
No. See, this was aged for 1,000 years. And the barrels built from the wreck of Grunhill's fleet is not meant for mortal men.
Neither was Omaha Beach, Blondie. Stop trying to scare us. Come on.
All right.
Excelsior.
Whoever thought that Stan Lee would play a character who would get drunk? But if you think about it, he also had a cameo where he was in a strip club. There you go. In this scene, Thor is pouring a drink from Asgard. It's an Asgardian alcoholic drink. He pours one for himself and Captain Rogers. He does say that it is not meant for mortal men. Stan Lee, playing a veteran of sorts, says, "Give it to me. I'm not afraid, Blondie." You can just hear Thor going, "Oh, very well then." He does not say that, but I would. So he gives Stan Lee a little bit of it. I can already picture Stan Lee taking that first drink, and something along the lines of this would happen.
That's what I call a wee drop of the creature.
I actually want to try that sometime. Then we cut to Stan Lee holding on to two other guys as they drag him away, drunk out of his mind. As he says one of his more popular catchphrases, "Excelsior!" Stan Lee and audience, a little advice. Next time a god tells you, "Don't drink this," you might want to listen to him. Probably a very good idea.
With great power comes great responsibility.
You know, I guess one person can make a difference. Enough said.
Now, this was not Stan Lee's first Spider-Man cameo. That would have been in the first Spider-Man film, and that was truly a blink and you miss it, because all it was Stan Lee just grabbed the kid and got him out of the way of some explosions that are happening after the Green Goblin threw a pumpkin bomb. Same thing in Spider-Man 2. Stan Lee just grabbed somebody out of the way as a piece of building fell. So this was his first one of his first cameos, where it was not blatantly in your face, but still you can't really miss it. And I do believe it was one of his, and I believe this is when he started to do the in your face and you miss the cameos. So yeah, there we go. Parker sees that he is going to get the key to the city because he saved Gwen Stacy. Stan Lee comes along and sees the same thing and says a very touching line that pretty much sums up the Webhead's character. You know, I guess one man can make a difference. Then he says his other catchphrase, "Enough said." It's not funny, not even serious, just a great line from a great man.
With great power comes great responsibility.
The sad thing about this is that I can actually see this happening in real life or to Stan Lee. In this scene, Stan Lee is a librarian at Parker's school. While the fight with the lizard is going on, Stan Lee is totally oblivious to the carnage going on around him as he's listening to music and putting books away or doing whatever it is that librarians do. And he almost gets nailed by a desk, but Parker gets it just in time. Could you imagine if this happened in that library?
Split! You're going too fast.
It's a matter of opinion.
Excuse me, Dr. Jones?
Yes?
I just had a question on Hargrove's normative culture model.
Forget Hargrove.
Read Ver Gordon Child on diffusionism. He spent most of his life in the field.
Want to be a good archaeologist? You gotta get out of the library!
Actually, I could see that happening in the Marvel Universe movies, and no one caring. I can definitely see that.
With great power comes great responsibility.
You okay?
Are you Tony Stank?
Yes, this is Tony Stank.
Who knew that by calling Tony Stark Tony Stank could be so funny? But it happens. Stan Lee is a FedEx delivery guy giving a package to Tony, but he mispronounces his name and calls him Tony Stank. And Brody, being the ever-popular friend that he is, but also knowing how much a pain in the neck that Tony can be, says, yes, this is definitely Tony Stank. 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 And if you think about it, I'm pretty sure Brody is the only person that can actually get away with doing that. I don't think anybody else could. Well, maybe Pepper Potts, but details.
But why get caught up in the details?
With great power comes great responsibility.
Did it work?
Definitely one of the funnier cameos. This was from the first Thor movie. Everyone was trying to pick the hammer up. However, because of the way the hammer works, only the worthy can lift it. Nobody on Earth would be worthy. I guarantee it. And they were pretty much using everything they could to move it. This includes some random dude's pickup truck. The hammer doesn't budge. The bed of the truck, well...
Not to worry, we are still flying half a ship.
Then it cuts to the driver, and it's none other than Stan Lee. He asked if it worked or not, and everyone is laughing. To be fair, they're probably also asking, what can we do now? They could probably get a ship, but this would most likely happen to the ship. There you go.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Now don't you move. My hands aren't as steady as they used to be.
By Odin's beard, you shall not cut my hair, lest you feel the wrath of the mighty Thor. Please, kind sir, do not cut my hair. No! No!
This is definitely Stan Lee's best cameo. Thor was trapped on an alien planet, and he was about to fight their planet champion. The guards felt that he needed a haircut, so they called in the haircutter, played by Stan Lee, and he uses this device that looks like a smaller version of the device that Jimmy Neutron uses to cut his hair.
Online. Tada.
Anyway, Thor is pleading with the man, please don't cut my hair. Please! But he does it anyway. And Thor gets some pretty nasty cuts along the way. All I can say is, if Stan Lee came up to me and said, I want to cut your hair, I would have been like,
Do it.
exactly. So there you have it. the top 11 Stan Lee cameos. You really can't put into words how much he is going to be missed. The next Marvel movie that comes out, which is either going to be Captain Marvel or the next Avengers movie, is definitely going to be very bittersweet. Because we don't know if Stan Lee is going to have a cameo. The last cameo that he did would have been for the last Avengers movie, which was part 1 of Infinity War. We do know that the next Marvel movie, whatever it is, will have In Memory Of. Sorry, starting to get a little emotional. You will be missed, my friend. Next week, I will be continuing the Star Trek Generations fanfic uploads. I wanted to get this video done and up as soon as I could. Until next time, this has been General Kenobi. We'll catch y'all next time.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man. Is he strong? Listen, bud, he's got radioactive blood. Can he swing from a thread? Take a look overhead. Hey there goes the Spider-Man. In the chill of night, at the scene of a crime, like a streak of light, he arrives just in time. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Welcome fame, he's ignored. Action is his reward to him. Life is a great big day. Wherever there's a hang, you'll find a Spider-Man.
I can't breathe in this thing!